Warriors, welcome to this video. Today we're talking about concentration and memory issues and whether or not this has anything to do with anxiety. Now for me, people used to ask me, Dennis, what did you eat this morning? I would say, I don't remember, even though it was like 2 hours ago. And if I had to focus on something, it was very hard for me to focus on that thing. If I had to remember something, it was very difficult. So my short-term memory was lost. I have no idea what's going on. For me to hold a conversation with someone, very, very difficult. For me to remember phone numbers, someone's name, whatever it was, very, very challenging. I felt like I had to really give it everything I could to really remember even the smallest, simplest things, okay? Now, if this is something that's in your life right now, it's important to understand that there's different levels, okay? There's a mild level, there's a more moderate level, and then there's a severe level. I believe mine was more severe, right? It was overtaking every aspect of my life. It was affecting every aspect of my life, okay? So really, really important to understand that. Really important to understand the escalation, okay? So this can come in conjunction together with other symptoms of anxiety, as was the case with me, or it can come on its own, okay? So really important to understand, is this a combination of other factors as well that are symptoms of anxiety, or is this coming on its own? You know, for me, it was like this depersonalization. I had different sensations. I had general anxiety. I had panic attacks, and I had these memory/focus issues. So it was a combination of many different things. And the combination showed me that this, in fact, was another symptom of anxiety. Okay, but for a long time I didn't realize that. I went on Google and the first thing that came up was dementia, or something that was, chronic, and other physical ailments, right? So it was very difficult for me to pinpoint the idea that yes, this was in fact related to sensitized nerves, the stress response, okay? So research shows that the stress that we have in our lives, in fact, impairs the short-term learning and concentration areas of the brain, okay? This, in fact, in itself can give us so much relief. That research does show that when the amygdala is triggered, okay, and the stress response is triggered, that the longer this is triggered, the more we're going to, in fact, experience these short-term memory loss situations, these focusing situations, okay, that we're currently going through. Okay, and the stress response stresses out the body, and this has an adverse effect on brain functioning. So if you feel like, oh my goodness, I have a permanent issue related to my brain, I have a physical ailment, all these question marks that are coming up in your life, then it's really important that you challenge these things. It's really important that you begin changing these belief systems, starting to believe something different. Now, for me in my life and the people that I work with, it was really important to do two things, okay, related around this focus/memory issue. One thing I needed to do was I needed to stop being so hard on myself. I needed to stop putting so much pressure on myself. I have to remember everything. I have to focus fully on this task that I'm doing right now. So when the pressure is lifted, the stress response subsides. Okay, so we must get to a point where we realize that more pressure to focus, more pressure to memorize is in fact doing the opposite of what we want to happen, which is in fact to feel peace, to feel balance, to feel relaxed, okay? So first things first, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Relax, okay? If you don't remember something, that's fine. If people are judging you, that's fine. People will always judge you. That doesn't matter. Stop judging yourself so harshly, okay? Really important. Be gentle. Second thing is make it a habit to start writing things down that you know you should remember, okay? Because as you start to lessen your anxiety levels, as you start to pinpoint exactly what are the things that are causing me anxiety, what habits am I partaking in, okay? If I'm living my life unconsciously on a daily basis without programming my subconscious mind to understand that a threat is just a perceived threat, not a real threat, because that's the kind of information it wants, okay? When you get a thought, when you get an emotion, we mentioned this before in the Anxiety Guy podcast, a thought and an emotion is just your subconscious mind's idea of asking you, what do I do in this situation? What do I do with this information? And by getting frustrated and by getting, more fear, more stress, and really putting more pressure on yourself, you're in fact making that stress response stronger and stronger, which in turn makes the symptoms last longer and longer, okay? So the stress and anxiety go hand in hand. Now, like I mentioned, write stuff down. If you know you must remember it, write it down so you remember it later on. Don't think that, I'll remember this later on, because fear adds up, okay? If we start to feel fear in the morning and we don't have a certain skill set in place or the right mindset for the rest of the day, what tends to happen is it's almost like we're building one brick on top of another brick on top of another brick. Next thing you know, we're living our lives filled with worry and fear. Fear and worry in this world is available to us no matter where we go. On TV, people, negativity is so loud. Pessimism is so loud. Irrational thinking is so loud. But what we must do, and what the Anxiety Guy is all about, is number one, rational thinking. Rational thinking is number one. Number two, optimistic thinking. Number three, positive thinking. Now, if we start to make this our conscious response to something that's irrational, something that we feel is catastrophic, okay, some kind of mind reading ability that we all think we have. Oh my goodness, that person just looked at me. They must think I'm crazy. Am I losing control of my body? Are they recognizing that I have sensations going on? The list goes on and on and on. This is triggering the stress response more and more and more. So you are sending these kind of signals to your system. The signals are that, fear is in fact always present and we should always stand guard. False, okay? The more you worry, that does not mean that the safer you become. The more you worry, that does not mean that you will be financially free. The more you worry, that does not mean that your relationships will stay stronger. That is an illusion. That is false. We must understand this, okay? The opposite is true. Less worry, less stress, okay? Less fear, less anxiety. In fact, will get you to a point where you will start experiencing life at its fullest, okay? But first and foremost, we must start to accept this idea. We must start to accept that, fear and stress will not run my life anymore. So, in closing, guys, understand that if you're going through focus issues, if you're going through memory issues, it's okay. It's fine. Be gentle on yourself. Make sure you write things down that you should remember later on in the day. But take it as another symptom of anxiety. Don't Google, okay? Don't go around asking people for reassurance, because people have no idea. In my life, when I told someone, oh my God, I have such trouble trying to remember things, they said, you know what, go to the doctor and get that checked. And then the doctor, saw something or felt something within him and said, you know what, you need to do this, and this test. So the cycle never ends. Let's understand that this is a symptom of anxiety. Nothing more, nothing less. And the more we lessen our anxiety levels, the more we partake in this new subconscious programming that we're under, that you're learning through the End the Anxiety program, that you're learning through the podcast and these videos, the more you're progressing. And the more you're progressing, the closer you're getting to your goal. I love you guys so very much. Remember, you are more than anxiety. See you guys in the next video.